from the local station. This is Weather Authority Weekday.
Good day, everyone. I'm Meteorologist Mark Collins on Weather Authority Weekday. And have you felt the really nice weather? The humidity, where is it? Where is it? Is this Florida? It was gone. We had a cold front move through, and it makes it feel, well, just a touch on the cooler side. That was the front yesterday. It's down in Central Florida. We've reaped the benefits. Yesterday was a beautiful day. Sunny skies, low humidity. The question is, will the rain-free conditions and the perfect weather hold for today? Well, it's going to start to transition. So some of you will start to feel stickier. We've felt that higher humidity air along the coast. That's going to be moving in, and that will generate some scattered showers for the day. But today was the chilliest day that we have seen all month long, compliments of that dry air. Hard to believe that just over 2 months from now, a little over 60 days, we're going to be carving up the pumpkins for Halloween. Well, we kind of felt a little taste of fall. That's because of those numbers there. Dew points down in the 60s. That's the drier air. When you're in the 70s, it does feel sticky. And that air that's over Central Florida, the more humid air is going to be lifting back northward today. So just kind of some minimal storms in the forecast. The storm cycle is going to sputter to a start today with some low top showers. There could be a few thunderstorms, but nothing too punchy here today. Timing 3 to 8 o'clock this afternoon, and then tomorrow a little bit earlier in the day. And tomorrow we'll have more coverage of rain over the area. And the bad news, all right, plug your ears, rain for the holiday weekend. In fact, North Florida will probably be the wettest over any spot in the state. So if you're going to Central Florida, Southern Florida, drier conditions down there. Looking outside, we've got sunshine here, so nothing really looks different from yesterday. But as we head through the afternoon with a little more humidity in the air, we'll start to generate some clouds and just a few showers around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's mainly after 3 through 4 where you start to see areas of rain around Duval County, maybe some showers around Palaca, but nothing particularly heavy. Rain amounts will be mostly under 2/10 of an inch of rain. Tomorrow, though, notice a little bit more green showing up there on the forecast chart. So rain coming back into the forecast as we take you into Thursday, and that will be the start to more of a typical routine. And then we're going to get some extra rains coming in here for Friday. So Friday, what's going to happen is we're going to have this warm front lift northward. And as that warm front comes into North Florida, it's going to linger in the area here for the upcoming weekend. In fact, we'll see spokes of energy along that frontal boundary enhancing the rains. But today, not much rain here. 4 through about 5, 6. We'll see those scattered showers, but the odds of rain today at 30%. That's going to keep temperatures right around that lower 90-degree mark over inland zones. We're talking about west of the St. Johns River, about 89 to 90 here in town, and out along the beaches looking for those highs to stay below 90, mainly in the upper 80s. So the rain amounts in the forecast this afternoon, like I said, not really significant totals anywhere north of Jacksonville. You'll probably miss out on the bulk of the rain. And then around town, maybe 1/10 of an inch or so. But today we're looking at some of those coastal showers shifting inland. Here comes that warm front. So the front that came through that brought us delightful weather is now stationary. That's going to backpedal to the north, and it's going to be lifted northward by a weak area low pressure developing in the northern Gulf of Mexico. Remember, it's a counterclockwise flow, so we'll get more into those southerly winds since that low is going to be off towards our west. Now we'll have some upper level energy coming through that warm front, and that's why the situation looks pretty wet. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, rain chances around 80%, similar into Sunday as well, as that system just kind of stalls across the area. So taking you through the 3-day holiday weekend, here we go, looking at temperatures easing back into the 80s because of those clouds and those scattered showers. We could have some of that rain sticking around through the evening into Sunday morning, and then Monday mostly afternoon type shower activities. But the good news is tropics are quiet. Ferdinand, I'm surprised they're even talking about this. It's 600 miles south of Newfoundland. The Hurricane Center still issuing advisories on it because there were some thunderstorms that fired up around the low-level circulation center. But it's a weak tropical storm, 45-mile-per-hour winds, and there you see the convection is very tightly bounded to that ball of clouds. And other than that, that's going to be moving to the northwest over colder water. It'll become post-tropical here this evening. But other than that, take a look. Things are pretty quiet. You see off the Lesser Antilles, one thunderstorm complex, but things are not shaping up to be very active over the next week or so. So we could get into September without anything behind Fernand. So that would be a nice pause here in the hurricane season. Part of the reason why it looks so cloud-free, an unusual amount of dust in the atmosphere. Usually we start to see the Saharan air layer diminish, but there's a big plume there showing up here on this forecast model, and you can see how that tracks across into the Caribbean Sea. So when you have dry subsidence air in the equatorial areas, things are going to stay pretty quiet like that. In fact, here's a look at the Euro and GFS models. I'm bringing this into play closer to our backyard because after Memorial Day, Tuesday, Wednesday, winds could increase off of Cape Hatteras out of the northeast, and some of those winds, depending on how that storm shapes up, may bring some higher gusts to the Carolinas. Right now, it looks like all that stays off our coastline, but we will see some elevated waves starting to pick up on Tuesday into Wednesday, but nothing like Aaron. There you see those winds in white, the GFS, in the yellow is the Euro, and the GFS is a little bit stronger with those winds tightening up with the low pressure center off of Cape Hatteras. Whatever happens there would likely move to the northeast, and that's the only thing we're really looking at out in the tropics. Other than our own backyard weather, like I said, that weak low that comes through, that's going to bring us some rain, and anywhere 2 to 3 inches of rain is possible through Memorial Day when we look at those 72 hours for the upcoming holiday weekend. So at least the heat is taking a break. That's good news, right? But the yards, well, they certainly are green, and they're going to stay green with that forecast. All right, I'm meteorologist Mark Collins. Thanks for watching.
See why every day more people are choosing News 4 Jax. Northeast Florida and Georgia's #1 source for local news.